Social media is an exciting topic. Most news articles and information nowadays seem to be completely focused on social media. And the great thing is, social media is a great way to build links as well. Now, we talked about how some of those links might be no-followed, and you may not get the search engine benefit, but you can certainly get the visitor benefit by increasing the visibility of your business and getting more people to notice you and your content. So let's assess the resources before we get started. Here's a couple of ground rules. Social media was started even before a modern internet. Social media is simply like-minded people coming together to discuss a common interest. Social media was not made for marketing, except for Google+. That's the only social media that was made for the express purpose of marketing. Everything else is relationship building. That's why so many of these social media entities have a problem once they go public, because they need to figure out how to make money. Most social media companies aren't making money, but they are gaining people. And so in order for you to get involved in social media and get a business value out of it, you need to plan, you need to craft a clear message, and you need to be persistent, because this is a long-term campaign. You can't budget for a 3-month attempt at social media. You need to look at this as building a relationship with your customers. And so it's long-term. So let's find your niche. First of all, you need to ask a couple of questions. What separates you from your competition? What makes you different? Why should people use you rather than your competitors? You should know that answer, and you should be able to clarify it very quickly. What is your message? How do you explain that difference to your audience? How can you, in the space of maybe 4 or 6 words, explain how you're different? That's your message, and you've got to figure out the best way to communicate your message to your audience. Now let's look at your resources. Are you a team of just one person, or do you have a team? That's going to determine a great deal of how much you're going to be available to work within social media. If it's just you, your time is going to be extremely limited. If you have a team, then you can assign them different tasks that can take some of the work. Do you have a budget? Is the budget enable you to pay for resources to help you, like a consultant or a team to help write or create content? How much time do you have? Are you busy doing other things? Are you running your business, or is this your sole responsibility? What type of information is at your disposal? Do you have video capabilities? Maybe podcasting capabilities? What do you have in terms of information that can help you move your message? And also, what skills do you have? Do you have skills that can enable you to work within social media, maybe in video, audio, images? What is it that you can do in terms of skills and information that will enable you to communicate your message effectively? You see, when we look at your resources, what we're interested in is the types of social media that are out there. There's video sharing, there's pictures sharing. Do you have testimonials that you can use? Are people on social media willing to make testimonials about you? Do you have any case studies or white papers that you can share that people will want to see? Are you an expert that's willing to take time to go onto forums, to go onto Twitter, and answer people's questions quickly after they answer them? Are you ready to provide timely and immediate information? Do you have the capability to share information and have that conversation? A lot of these require time. Some require assets that you may not have. Others require a deep commitment to a certain medium. So take stock of your resources. Make sure that before you get involved in social media, you know what's going to be required. You know who you are and what your message is, and clarify that message. Then take account of what you can do. What can you do within the time, money, and teamwork constraints that you have that will enable you to promote your message, without being overcommitted in terms of time or budget or simply not being able to follow through in social media. So let's get ready. Here's the first thing to do. Communicate your message in less than 10 words. Why should I do business with you? Why are you different? What's your best resource? Is it time, money? What is the best medium for you to communicate your message? Can you provide news immediately? Can you provide great opinion-based news? Or how about video? Start there and then develop a strategy, because that is what's going to be key in your success in using social media to market your website. The second step to developing a social media campaign is to develop a content plan. There's a few simple questions to follow. The first is, what do people want to see? And this is where we do our keyword research so that we can see the types of words that people want. So using the word vacations, we can see the types of vacations that people are looking for. And so now we can determine, well, if we're going to produce content on our site and produce content in social media, let's make sure that the content we produce is aligned with what people want to see. The next question is, when do people want to see it? As we talked about before in the keyword research lessons, it's important to know the trend. You don't want to be talking about vacations in September because that is the least demand month for that term. So it's always good to know when the trend is so that you can be publishing content about that topic before it trends high. So understand the keyword trends and when people want to see the content. Also, ask yourself if there are any annual events in your industry or related to your industry that you can use, such as holidays, industry events, something like that. So, for example, no one talks about Valentine's Day until Valentine's Day and maybe the week or two before. And so plan that on your calendar as content that you can pre-plan, pre-create, and have ready to go when the trend is on you. And then be aware of isolated trends, trends that aren't on the calendar but might come up at any time, such as a news event about specific people, places. A great way to track this is on Hot Trends at Google. Hot Trends lets you know what's trending that day, and you can take advantage of that by understanding that if it's trending that day and you get content on your site about that trend, you might be able to get visitors to your site, especially if you can connect it, the trend, to your business and help educate people about what they can do to take advantage of that news. Answering those questions and then building a content plan is the key. Organize by month, figure out what words are trending on which month, put in the recurring annual content that's going to be appearing throughout the year, whether it's a holiday or an industry trend. Plan the optimal distribution channels. For example, if you're creating something that has a video component on a trend, the best distribution channel is going to be YouTube as well as Facebook. Now, you can also use Twitter to tweet a link to the YouTube link, but plan it out. Make sure that when you create this content plan, it's also a checklist of all available places that you can publish this content. Think like a publisher. What a publisher does is they introduce the content. If you've ever gone into a store around mid-October, it's very interesting because not only do they have Halloween things, they also have Christmas items. They're thinking like a publisher. They're thinking ahead of the trend. And so a good way to think about content is if you know it's going to trend in December, you prepare in October. And then you develop the content. You create conversation with your content during the trend as it's increasing and as it gets to the top of the trend. And then you close it. You close the topic when the trend is over. You can close it by asking people on Facebook, how did you Celebrate this. How did you respond to this? And you can learn from that, and you can also engage people when the trend is over. Don't try and publish an article about a trend when it's already done. No one's going to be searching for it. And so you need to think like a publisher online by getting your information out there and understanding how people are going to interact with it based on the trend. So get ready, get set, plan your content, and plan how you're going to distribute it. Now, be flexible. You've got to plan, and you've got to mark down when all these things are happening, but be flexible. Be willing to change. Be willing to understand that there are things that are going to happen, maybe day to day, that some news topics are going to dominate, and it may have to precede the content you have scheduled. Educate yourself about the market. What's important? What are the primary dates? What's coming that you need to watch out for? And then combine the planning with your resources, and you will have success. A lack of planning will kill a campaign. There will be no direction, there will be confusion, and there's no way to hold anyone accountable when there is no plan. Now, as you're going out to social media, one of the things that is vitally important as you start using social media is to set up the account correctly. If there's one thing that I constantly see businesses doing as they get into social media, is that they don't set up their accounts correctly. So let's take a look at a couple like YouTube and Twitter and Facebook, Pinterest, any discussion forums, Foursquare, Yelp, LinkedIn. These are ones that we're going to be talking about, but I'm going to focus on a few to make sure that we can reinforce the simple proposition of completing your profile. This is what bothers me when I see companies starting in social media, that they forget or they ignore the importance of having a complete profile online. The main reason is it takes time. You've got to fill out your name. You've got to fill out your company and your URL. I can't fathom how many companies just ignore filling out the URL. That's a link. That's a way to get a link to your site, and it's a great way to do it. And the description. If you upload anything about your company or a file or anything that you're sharing, you've got to complete the entire profile. In looking at Twitter, here's my profile. What I want to point out is that on your profile, fill out every available field of information that says anything about you or your business. And be sure to add a link that goes directly to your website. This is a great way to do it because if people want to know more about you on Twitter, they'll go to your profile, and there's a link going right to your website. In looking at Facebook, one of the Facebook sites that I always enjoy going to is the Volkswagen website. And when I look at their profile, not only is it filled out completely, they must have every single social media website included in their website list. They also have links to their awards, to press releases. They've got links going everywhere, and they have a wonderful about page because it's full of information. On YouTube, one thing that I find that companies don't do is when they upload the video, they don't think about linking that particular video to the appropriate page on the website. And also, in the company profile of your YouTube page, make sure you have your URL. LinkedIn makes it very easy. They focus you on how complete your profile is. And if you have not added any work history or skills or other things like that, you will see that in your profile completeness. Be sure that you set up a complete profile. If there's an opportunity to put a link in your profile, do it. Don't forget to add any URLs, corporate websites, business websites. Make sure that even when you upload videos or other resources, that you link them to the appropriate page. Even when you upload the video or an image or a link or a resource, make sure that in the page that you are uploading, that you complete the entire profile and every text box that is made available to you. It's there for your benefit. Don't get lazy and leave it empty. Once you're on social media and you're actively interacting with people, it's always good to know what to expect from different forms of social media. I love blogs. Blogs to me are the best way to interact with my audience and give them the chance to interact with me. Blogs increase search visibility because you are publishing new content all the time, and it naturally builds long-tail content because you're constantly pushing information out. It builds a community because you're constantly informing, educating, giving information, and blogs are ideal for communicating high-trust content. Also, because you're attracting so many people to the blog, it's a great tool to build lists and conversions. You can ask people to give their email address to be informed of updates, or also put your conversion points right there on the blog. A blog that I like giving as an example is the Black Hills Travel blog. This was developed because through research we found that people wanted to know when they visited the Black Hills, what's the local knowledge? Where do the locals go for the best restaurants, for the best bike trails, for the best in horseback riding? And so they developed this blog as an insider source of information, and within a few years, it became one of the leading websites in the region. The main reason is because blogs are constantly pushing new information. Blogs get 55% more visitors than websites. They get 55% more incoming links than websites, and over 400% more pages in the search engine's database. Blogs are powerful, and the most important thing is they're completely under your control. YouTube is amazing. It's the third largest website in the world. It's the second most popular search engine. You know who's the first, which makes Yahoo and Bing maybe fifth or sixth. 4 billion views a day, and this is amazing. 60 hours of video is uploaded every 60 seconds, and some of it's actually good. 3 billion hours of video is watched each month around the world. YouTube can be used effectively when you've got something that needs to be seen. One of my favorite sites is the Will It Blend site. It's a $400 blender that initially was being sold business to business. They were selling it to smoothie makers or restaurants or mall kiosks for shakes. And what happened was consumers started seeing these videos and started buying these blenders. But in order to demonstrate the power of the blender, they started blending anything. They were blending phones. They were blending an iPad. They blended glow sticks, marbles, golf balls. It's amazing what they've blended, and they have millions, tens of millions of views on their YouTube channel. So YouTube is fantastic when you've got something that you have to see it to believe it, or you have a highly visual component. Also, what I love about YouTube is that it's portable, because you can grab a piece of code and you can put that video on your own website or your blog or even on Facebook. It allows people to republish it in their own format, and yet it still links back to YouTube. And also, 500 years of YouTube video are watched every day on Facebook. Facebook is the #1 place that people watch YouTube videos. And so you can extend your reach and really help combine what you're doing by publishing on YouTube and then putting it out on your Facebook page for people to enjoy, or creating something that invites people to share it with their friends. You can also influence search rankings with YouTube videos. And this is a wonderful thing to see. In Google, I did a search for a document scanner. The #1 result was a YouTube video for a document scanner from Tiger Direct. Now, human factors say that what I'm going to look at on this page is the picture. Humans respond to seeing pictures of humans, and so your eyes are going to go directly to that image, and it's a video. It's different than everything else on the page, and when you click on it, it takes you to YouTube. And what you'll notice is in the description, there is a link going directly to the product page. And this company sold out of these scanners in a matter of months. Twitter is a powerful tool if you understand how to use it correctly. It gives you access to celebrities, access to news, and access to brands. Those are the three biggest reasons people are on Twitter. But when asked why do they follow brands, well, they want to give feedback, they want to give ideas, and they want insider information and freebies. So this is why people are on Twitter. They want to talk and they want to get things for free. Now, one company that was able to make Twitter work for them was following Google Trends and saw that a company was trending very high because of news that was affecting the stock exchange. So what they did is they got an article on their blog within the hour, and then they started tweeting out links to that article. Well, they've got a lot of their followers that are on Twitter, so their followers retweeted the link to their networks. And so within an hour of putting this article on their blog, sending it out on Twitter, having it retweeted by all their followers and their networks, their article showed up on the front page of Google. And their traffic immediately increased for that brand name. Twitter is a powerful medium that focuses on news right now. Facebook is completely different because Facebook are people that are engaging constantly, and I think the average time that people are on Facebook is 11 hours a month. Facebook is comparable with the other things that we do in our lives. Now, Facebook, though, is more specific about conversation. Where Twitter is about sharing news fast, Facebook is about conversation, sharing, asking questions. People are interested in stories and finding out what's going on in other people's lives. And so because of all these differences, we can't treat social media the same. Facebook is different from Twitter, which is different from YouTube, which is different from LinkedIn. And in fact, when we look at social media marketing activities that led to conversions, blogs were predominant in bringing in conversions to a company. And so when you look at the amount of work that you put into social media, you want to be sure that your expectations are aligned with what you want to get out of it. And so when you evaluate social media channels, ask which medium is going to work best for your message. How receptive are people going to be based on how you're using it? If you're going to Facebook and simply telling people what's happening, they're not going to respond to you. What value can you bring that your competitors are not bringing? And can you invest long-term in developing this channel as a source for your business?